It is only when we truly know and understand we have limited time on earth, and we have no way of knowing when our time is up, that we will begin to live each day to the fullest, as if it were the only one we have. "20 years from now, you will be more disappointed by the things that you didn't do than by the ones you did do. So throw off the bow lines, sail away from the safe harbor, catch the trade winds in your sails, explore, dream, discover. The purpose of life, after all, is to live it, to taste experience to the utmost, to reach out eagerly and without fear for a newer and richer experience. To those who stay put, the world is but an imaginary place. But to the movers, the makers, and the shakers, the world is all around, an endless invitation. So the only question left to ask yourself is, where should you go now?"
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be around the world. Ali Madawi here with you, and I am super excited to have the privilege and the opportunity to train, teach, and educate today on a topic that I think is extremely important. If you are in business, one of the things that you must do is to understand at least how to make projections, right? Like you got to make projections for the next 90 days or for the next 12 months or whatever the case may be. And in many cases, solopreneurs, they are making projections based on hope. I'm here to help you today, and it's going to be a little bit of a workshop style that I'm going to help you create realistic projections and also know how to execute to make those numbers come into fruition. So if this is your very first time, say good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be. My name is Ali Madawi, and I am the Global Master Trainer of the Young Entrepreneur Project, which is an entrepreneurial community that allows you to start, grow, or scale businesses wherever you may be around the world. Plus, you can build your own book of business within any of our verticals, whether it's our most exciting vertical right now, driven our trading educational platform, or any other verticals, or you can also build a sales force in a global fashion and create a business for yourself within a business. So now that we got that out of the way, we are on the 28th, December 28th. First of all, happy birthday to my beloved nephew Bryson. If you or mommy are watching, happy birthday. We love you. And also happy birthday to my Uncle Sammy out of New York. My goodness, 2 amazing birthdays today. Now, with that, let's talk about how I personally make projections, and actually why is it important to make projections. See, many people make a mistake and they just go with the flow, right? Like, if I make it, I make it. If I don't, I don't. If I make it, I'll spend it right away. If I don't have it, I'm not going to spend it. But if you are operating with that mindset, you're not necessarily operating with a business or a game plan. Therefore, you are just guesstimating if you're even going to make it in business this upcoming year. So let me ask you a question, and you can answer in the comment, or you can answer just to yourself. How much would you like to make this upcoming year, 2022, from the 1st of January all the way until December 31st? What would you like your gross income to be? Now, whatever that number is, either write it down or write it in the comment, and I want to help you understand how you're going to be able to understand right now if you have a chance of making that number, or you are just overthrowing the ball, right? And the reason this is an important practice to do is so you know exactly the amount of work that goes within it. So great point. Elizabeth Cousins, she said $1 million. All right, so let's just use $1 million as an example. So I'm going to take that $1 million, and then that $1 million, I'm going to divide it by 52 weeks. So if I take $1 million and I divide it by 52 weeks, that comes down to just about $19,000 plus every single week. Let's just call it $20,000 a week in order for me to generate $1 million in a year, right? Now, with $20,000, I'm going to divide it also by 5 days, right? Monday through Friday. And by default, that's going to give you what? 20,000 by 5 is Four, right? So $4,000 a day. Now, you also want to take it a step further and divide that $4,000 by the amount of hours that you have for your business. So whether it's 8 hours, 10 hours, 4 hours, whatever it may be. So let's just call it 10 hours. 4,000 divided by 10 hours, $400 an hour is what you need to make for 52 weeks in a row, no time off, 5 days a week, every single week. If you are ready to commit to the amount of work that I just shared with you right now, 10 hours a day, 5 days a week, 52 weeks in a row with no weeks off, no travel or anything, or even if you travel, you're still maintaining 10 hours a day worth of work, that's great. You are half of the way there because you understand, okay, I do have the capacity to handle those hours. I do have enough time to invest onto my business. Now what you have to do is to identify how to generate $400 in an hour. See, in your business right now, your compensation plan has multiple ways that you can generate revenue, right? It will be direct bonuses, it would be dual teams, it would be matching checks, it would be leadership bonuses. And you have to understand a few things in order to know if you can make those numbers per hour. The very first one, what are my averages? See, the best way that you can predict the future is to look at the past. So look at your numbers last year, this year that just passed, and look at what you averaged per hour. See, if what you've averaged per hour has led to, let's just call it $40 instead of $400 an hour, then you got to evaluate, did I put the 10 hours a day, 5 days a week throughout the whole? If you have done so you have put the right time effort, but you've done it the wrong way. You may not been reaching out to the right demographics or saying the right things or introducing them to the right platform, right? So that's when you have to start making some adjustments and pivoting with your team leader, your mentor, or whomever you're working with, right? But if what you've done in 2021, again, let's go back to just $40 an hour, and you realize that you've made $40 an hour in 1 hour that you've worked a day. Now you know you have to adjust the time of work that you are putting, and you have to adjust the demographics. So there are a little bit of things or variables that you have to take in order for you to create the success or achieve the dollar amount that you want to achieve. The problem, the challenge is most people don't take the time to do what I'm sharing with you right now. Most people don't even bother in making a projection for 30 days. Like, I know for a fact in my business, I have to generate 100,000 in business volume every single week in order for me to create the $20,000 a week. Like, in order for me to create $1 million a year worth of income. And that's just in one stream, right? So I know my numbers and I know my averages and I know what I can and should and will or cannot or have not done in the past. So are you doing the math? Are you evaluating, how much you want to make? We talked yesterday about making a decision, having a game plan, and then having an accountability partner, right? Well, this is a decision. Elizabeth said $1 million. Great. I want you to make $1 million. Then you got to be conscious and aware that you have to generate $20,000 a week. And if you're going to generate $20,000 a week, you have to be aware, how are you going to generate $20,000 a week? Is it coming from a team effort, or is it coming from your own personal effort? Is it coming from volume, or is it coming from direct, B2B packages? Like, all these different variables will help you identify, and especially you know yourself, you know what you're capable of. The reality is we usually just lie to ourselves about what we don't do. So when you are making these decisions and making a real evaluation of your effort, of your time, of your productivity, of your income producing activity slots, by default, you're going to look and say, I could definitely do this. Or it sounds like a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of people that I have to reach out to, and I just don't think I have the bandwidth. Good. Now you have to adjust your million to maybe $500,000. Shrink everything in half. Do the math again. Reevaluate the effort, the time, the finances, the time you're taking away from your family, the sacrifices that are required. And then let's take a look again at that game plan. I still think it's pretty tight. Okay, slash it in half again. Commit to $250,000, $250,000. That's still multiple six figures. And then as you are doing real projections, you're going to have a game plan. And now you just reverse engineer it. If I know what I have to do in order to create the dollar amount, like I know for a fact that I'm going to generate at least minimum $1 million on 2022 from our entrepreneurial community, like without a shadow of a doubt. because I do average anywhere from 50 to 100,000 in volume on a weekly basis, right? So now I just have to maintain at least 100 as my minimum and really take it to a whole new level on, plus instead of just 100,000 on volume. Because if in our compensation, if you do that just from the dual team is 15,000, and then obviously matching checks and everything that follows with that, personal bonuses and yada 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 yada. Now again, if you've picked up anything of what I've shared with you today, the very first thing is you have to make a decision on what you want to make. Then you got to reverse engineer by dividing it 52 weeks. That's 1 year. Dividing it 5 days. I'm giving you Saturday, Sunday off. Dividing it by the amount of hours that you have for the day, which would be 2 to 10 to 15 hours, whatever it is that you're going to be working. And then from there, identifying what is the best way for you to generate that dollar amount that is associated per hour in order for you to make that end number. If the work that you see is required fits your lifestyle and fits your experience and fits your effort and fits your mindset, great, go for it. If you feel in any way, shape, or form that you are challenged, reach out to a mentor and ask, hey, I need you to help me adjust my projections because I don't think I can make this thing happen, and I don't want to overstretch myself and challenge myself for something that is just not attainable. Because it's okay to dream big. What's not okay is to intimidate your own potential by thinking $0 to $1 million if you've never made $1 million before, if you've never made $500,000 a year before. That's a big, big thing. And I'm not saying it's not doable. I'm saying it requires a lot of mental fortitude. And many of us, unfortunately, we're not built with mental fortitude. We're not built with that positive, excited, 24/7, nonstop, happy self, right? And it requires a lot of personal growth. It requires a lot of elements to maintain such a ridiculous focus. So again, whatever that dollar amount that you want to make for the year, divided by 52 weeks, divided by 5 days, divided by the amount of hours, and then identify your averages. If I have to make $1 million a year, that means I have to make $20,000 a week. If I have to make $20,000 a week, that means that I have to make $4,000 a day. If I have to make $4,000 a day, that means that I have to make $400 an hour. If I have to make $400 an hour, I have to identify what activity do I have every single day in my business that is going to generate and guarantee me $400 an hour. If that's not the case, I'm just dreaming without an actual real goal. So I have to either A, leverage, build a team, do whatever I got to do, or create systems in place in order for me to automate. There's so many things that you can do, but you have to make a business decision and you have to make an evaluation of everything that impacts that end goal. If not, yeah, that's a cute story that you keep telling yourself that this is my year. This is my year is only going to be that if you have a real plan and you're going to execute with accountability. You must have accountability. If you don't have accountability, I'm telling you here, you are absolutely just shattering your own dreams because you're going to be disappointed. And naturally, as human beings, the worst thing that we do is lack of consistency. We just don't have enough of it. So this is why you need accountability, as we talked about yesterday. If you don't have accountability, you're not going to be consistent. If you're not going to be consistent, all it takes is to miss one day. Now you're behind in your trajectory, especially if your goal is huge. Now, if your goal is just to make $10,000 a year, right? Like again, divided by 52 weeks, divided by 5 days, divided by the amount of hours, that could be attainable. But you don't also want to make your minimums your maximums, right? Like aim high, and even if you fall a little short, you're still floating in the air, right? Just don't make a mistake and not plan at all. That is what I'm hoping for you. Now, I hope this helped you out understand and identify how to make some projections. And you can just do the next 90 days instead of a full year. I usually do a full year and I break it down into quarterly increments. And then we have a fiscal evaluation every 90 days. My wife and my sister, who is my VP of operations, and we look at all of our numbers. We look at all of our past, current, and future, and we pivot, we adjust, we invest. We do so many different things based on those projections. If you don't have a projection, you're probably not going to make any good decisions on an ongoing basis. You're kind of like working your business paycheck to paycheck, and all you need is one bad flat tire and you just lost your business if you're operating that way. Hey, check this out. At the top of the hour, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Dr. Brian Stevens, he is one of our Circle of Champion members, a Sapphire executive and an 8-figure documented trader, been in many magazines and many documentation. He and I are both going to be doing an exclusive overview in drivenzoom.com, where we're going to be educating about our entrepreneurial platform, of course, along with our driven trading platform and what's in it for you. You all have made many resolutions and saying new year, new me. Well, come on and join us on drivenzoom.com. That is drivenzoom.com at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we're going to be educating you and everybody else how you can make 2022 the best year ever right from your beautiful cell phone. I appreciate you and I thank you. And I pray to God that you're going to take the right move and make the right decision. See you at 12 o'clock. Have a blessed day, everybody.